Hare Krishna. As you try to become a better person, just have a better life. It's crucial to find out what your faults are. And it's funny, by finding out what your faults are, you can live better. And this is how it works. First thing, the first step in the whole process of making your life better is to know yourself. Is to study yourself more and more, become more and more aware of who you are. It's this inner look, this self-knowledge. So you can't do anything about yourself if you don't know who you are and what's going on. So this looking in, this taking the time to examine your consciousness, examine your nature, and then later like understand the flow of your emotions, of your thoughts. This whole process is the basis of self-improvement and self-realization. When you start looking in instead of just looking out into the world, into what other people are doing, into what's going on outside, you start taking stock of what's going on inside so you can manipulate, direct, and correct what's going on inside. So in this process, knowing, being honest with yourself is a key aspect of the process. Not like that kind of brutally honest that just hurts, it's just unpleasant, but a deep honesty as well, of when you look inside, you're not faking it anymore. You notice like in social, like, you know, as social creatures, we try to show our best sides to people, and we kind of try to hide our, you know, worst aspects, right? But when you're talking about yourself, when you're examining your own self, you can't do that social game. It's got to be just totally honest. So you have to know exactly what your strengths are, at which level they're at, and what your problems are. So you have to be able to say honestly, yes, look, you're lazy, you're greedy, you're a little lusty, you just have to be really aware, look, you have this thing here, you have a tendency to be too critical, you're a bit mean, you're angry. You have to really be able to look inside and tell yourself what's there for real. And as you look inside and you find the fault, two things happen. First, when you go about life, as you are aware of that fault, you can correct it. It's like a shopping, you know, you go into the supermarket and sometimes you get that crummy shopping cart that's like pulling to one side, if you had that, and it's kind of like, so you have to like kind of correct it. You know, you're trying to walk in a straight line, and the shopping cart's pulling this way, so you kind of have to like pull this way. It's like that. You know what the fault is, so then you can balance it out. You can consciously, okay, I have a tendency to be a bit too critical and mean, so okay, I'm going to talk to this person now, and because I'm aware of my tendency to be too critical and mean, I'm going to carefully not be critical and mean. So you're bringing it to your conscious level. I'm going to correct it. I'm going to be aware that if what I'm saying is being too critical and mean. See? It's like a tire. I don't know if you've been to like a tire shop, but you know, you buy a tire, and of course it's not perfect. So they put in this machine, it spins around, and then it says, look, it's spinning around, and then you have to get a little weight, and they put the little weight on the other side, like to correct the imbalance, and they put the little weight there, and like, okay, spins it, and it spins really nicely. So then you balanced out, because you knew where the mistake was, you could balance out the problem purposely, and then the tire rides well. So it's the same thing. As you balance out your mistakes, you're conscious of it, so then you don't, there's a better chance you'll still make mistakes, but now you're purposely like trying to avoid that mistake. Second, you can try to cure it. You can try like, okay, now that I know, now that I'm honest with myself, and yes, okay, I'm very, you know, whatever, I get angry easily, okay. I get angry for no reason, so now I'm aware of it. Why am I angry? And then you can start examining it, what's going on, and then you can learn about, you know, the dragon and angel thing I talk about, your amygdala taking over your cortex. You can learn about these things, and you can learn about the techniques, you know, the deep breathing, muscle. So how do I deal with anger? What's making me angry? What's behind my anger? Is it like expectations, and I want expectations to work? Was my father like that, and I'm just re-assimilating that? So you can start deconstructing and understanding your fault. Again, you're not going to fix it overnight probably, but as you understand it, you can explore it and you can gradually cure it. So these are the two key things about learning your faults. You can fix it in a day-to-day behavior, and you can gradually cure it by giving your attention to it, by finding what the roots of it are, by learning the techniques to overcome it. So it's very important to do that, especially when you like making decisions. Again, when you're taking a decision, especially an important decision, stop and think, okay, how are my faults influencing this decision? And that can save you so much trouble. If you can just stop a little bit and just say, wait, let me just take stock of my failings here, my tendency to say, let's say, be greedy, or be harsh, or be mean, or be jealous. How are these things influencing this decision? And then you can say, oh, wait a second, they actually are, aren't they? If I wasn't these things, I probably wouldn't make this decision. So let's not make this decision. Let's correct my decision. And everything I'm saying here, all this whole process of honesty and finding your faults and working with your faults, to make it work, there's one key component, which is self-forgiveness. You can't do any of this without huge doses of self-forgiveness. You have to constantly forgive yourself for your faults, because if you don't, if it gets to be like a mean thing, like, oh, yeah, and you're just talking to yourself like this, oh, you're such a this and you're such a that, and I can't, look at that, you're just useless, you're just always angry, and then you get like harsh with yourself. What science shows is that when you're too hard on yourself, then you can't change. You have the opposite reaction. Being too hard on yourself makes again, it's about the amygdala and feeling safe and feeling attacked. It's all like quite animal-like in your brain. But if you attack yourself with that fault, then the reaction is to go back to your default comfort zone where that fault exists. So then it doesn't work. So you have to have tons of self-forgiveness, like, okay, I'm like that, but I forgive myself, I'm working on it. Just be nice, like treat yourself like your best friend. Be your best friend and say, look, yeah, you have this problem, let's work with it, but don't be too hard, it's fine, we're gonna get over it. So you have to have tons of self-forgiveness for this whole process to work, for you to be able to have this honesty with yourself in dealing with and reminding yourself of your faults. You have to have self-forgiveness. But then when you do, then you can work on them and gradually defeat them. So you try that, it really works. Hare Krishna.